Phenomenal morning, phenomenal morning. Let me just start by saying LinkedIn is having some altercations. Let me
Mm.
start by saying LinkedIn is having some altercations, guys. We apologize to everybody on LinkedIn. There is a gap, right? There is a gap. We will figure out the gap. But anyway, we are here. We are here. Phenomenal morning, Bobby Jackson. How are you doing, brother? I told you yesterday when things can go, sometimes they will go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good morning. I'm feeling well. I'm feeling resilient. Feeling resilient
Ah,
this morning.
good.
And I was thinking about the statistics of businesses that fail. And it's about 20% that fell in that first year. And a lot of businesses aren't here. And it's the fourth quarter. And they started out in the first quarter. They started out. And it's interesting because they are saying that I believe the last thing I read on the subject was 42% of businesses are likely to go out of business, not because they're bad businesses, but because the exponential increase in the cost of running their business. So it's just the
Mm.
cost of business is going up. And I was so thankful for my personal brand, this morning. Like I was getting dressed. I was looking at the blue tie and I was looking at the blue shirt and I was like, must be crazy if you think cost is gonna put me out of business. I'll raise my prices. Raise my prices. But to be able to say that, I think was very rewarding, very resilient feeling for me this morning because it let me know that we're doing the work, we're doing the right things, we're serving our people, and we're making sure that we're doing everything in our power not to be forced out of business by things such as cost of doing business. So that's how I'm feeling this morning, Coach.
Very good. Very good. Listen, guys, I got a lot of hits, right? I'm getting a lot of hits, and a lot of people are hitting me and saying, "Why are you doing this every day of the week? You already do the Saturdays, you do the leadership live. Why are you doing this every day of the week?" Right? And I gotta say that this is for the dreamers, right? This is for the dreamers. This is for the people like myself. So I always tell people go to YouTube when people look for, value and they don't have the access and the means. I always say go to YouTube, go to my Facebook, go see the value that we have there. But I said, you know what? Let me do something for the dreamers. Those who believe in something bigger than themselves. Those who believe, I promise you, everything that you see outside of you began inside of someone's mind. Everything that you see, the skyscrapers came from somebody's mind, the bridges came from somebody's mind, the railroads, the infrastructure, all of it came because somebody had an idea. Somebody had an idea. And I want you to know that no matter what you look outside of yourself and see right now, if you have an idea and you have a dream, then I guarantee you can have whatever it is that you want. Now, there's a lot of things that got to follow that dream. There's a lot of things that got to follow that vision. And we're going to talk about those things today. But you must start with the vision. You must start with the dream. You must start with an idea. And I'll go on to say a burning desire. A burning desire. Some of you don't know exactly what to do. You haven't figured it out all yet, but you have a burning desire to be of value, to help someone else, to win in life, and to become a champion in this thing we call life, right? That's the goal. That's why you're here. That's the only reason anybody would be here at 7 o'clock in the morning, guys. And by the way, share this out, right? Share this out to wake someone else up. If there's someone in your house that isn't paying attention, wake them up. Because listen, if you're awake and they're asleep, they're a liability. You're
Mm.
trying to do something. You're trying to move forward. If somebody's trying to hold you back, listen, when you have a dream, you got to cut off liabilities. When you have a goal, you have to cut off liabilities. You trying to go to sleep early, somebody staying up late in your house. Like you can't allow that. If your purpose is definitive enough. So I want you to think as we go into this first break, I want you to think, what is my definiteness of purpose? Do I have a definite purpose? Or do I have alternatives? Do I have maybes? Do I have options. Because a person with definiteness of purpose doesn't have options. We don't have options. You heard what Bobby just said? This is not happening. I will not be put. The cost of tea in China will not stop me.
Yeah.
So I want you to think of the obstacles that you've come across and the obstacles that come across you, that come across your chin and try to knock you down. Somehow you made it here this morning. So share this out so someone else can also get up and someone else can share this information with you, because a dream deferred. Guys, listen, a dream deferred is very hard to deal with. And when there's more than just you, you add power to your vision. That's right. When there's more than just you, you add value to your vision. So everybody around you has to vote. They have to vote. You got to put the ballot in front of them and make them vote. They're either with you or against you. And if they're against you, they're against the dream. If they're against the dream, then you just can't be on the team. You can't be on the team. There's no use. There's no use. Like I can come back for you later. You know, Bobby, that's one of the hard things, right? That's one of the hard things when people start to level up. Because when people start to level up, it's like, well, do I level up on my wife? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do I level up on the kids? Do I level up on my mother, my father, my best friend? Do I level up on the people that have known me forever? And the answer is yes.
Oh.
Yeah, the answer is yes. Yes, you have to. It's incumbent upon you. If you have a vision, if there's something bigger than all of us, you might call it by multiple different names. That's up to you, whatever you call the entity that is bigger than us all. However, if there's been a seed or a vision planted in your mind, it is an indication of possibility. It's an indication, and for me, it's not an indication of possibility. For me, it's an indication of obligation. That which must happen. Because everybody doesn't get ideas. Everybody doesn't have vision. So if you got a craving in your chest and a calling in your heart, wow. This is the Breakfast with the Brand, guys. It's an indication of what's about to come. We'll be right back. Let's grow. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Shaan East. I'm proud. I said Shaan East. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Shaan, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. You know, phenomenal morning, phenomenal shout out. We got Tia, we got Shade. I see you guys. We also have Proximate now. One thing I'm going to do, you know, I tell everybody, brand you, not what you do. So you might want to switch the labeling, because Proximate Solutions LLC, I know it's a phenomenal business model, but it's not an individual, right? So we want to know your name. We want to know more about you. You are the brand, not what you do. What you do is a service or a product, but you are the brand. So brand you, not what you do, so I can shout you out. Let's go. Bobby Jackson, what are your thoughts about what I said, sir?
As you all saw, I was still writing when we came back from the commercial. Like I was overloaded, because you took me somewhere with that.
Good.
You took me somewhere. So when I was thinking about just what it takes to achieve, to get to where you're going, what it means to have a dream, what it means to have a vision and to talk to the dreamers, I'm a reader, y'all. It took me back to W.E.B. Du Bois, and he wrote the Black Reconstruction. I believe that was the name of this particular book. It was the Black Reconstruction after the Civil War. So pretty much he wrote an entire book, like 800 pages, on how the Civil War and the breakdown of old America and the reconstruction of America. And during this book, he talks about some of the dreams and aspirations of people and the freedom runs that were required. And when I thought about this, I was like, man, I was just on a freedom run as a dreamer. And some of you all might be on a freedom run, you know, and I want to talk a little bit about this freedom run, because it really evoked a lot of emotion in me. The thing about a freedom run, so a little bit of context, and oh man, I believe it was The Fire Next Time, written by James Baldwin. And The Fire Next Time talks about, I can't even go into that, but The Fire Next Time kind of talks a little bit more about what it means to have an undying spirit and will within you that is urging and burning forward. So boom, let's deal with that. So in most freedom runs, you have this individual that is educated. And James Baldwin creates a story where there was an African-American man who was from the antebellum South, went and got educated. When he got educated, he came back to the South. And when he came back to the South, he was a reader. He had self-esteem. He understood rules and unspoken rules of manhood. He was changed. And he saw something happen to a female loved one. And that's all I'm going to say there. And when he saw that happen, he was so engulfed that he took a action that put him on the run. Now, the reason this is important is because when you're on a freedom run, you have a vision of something that's better, but you have to run through everything that you don't know. It's like you can see the door. You can see the factories that you could work in. You could see the banks you could build. You can see everything. And someone comes back and tells you something. They tell you what's possible. They tell you what you can have, and you start to see it. But the very interesting thing about freedom runs and about Harriet Tubman and about what James Baldwin wrote and about what W.E.B. Du Bois wrote, what I find so phenomenal about these stories is that when they're running, like when they're literally on the run, they don't see anything what they imagined in their minds. What they see are trees. What they see are swamps. What they see are dogs. What they see are lights. What they see are people dropping by the throngs. They left with 30. They got to the next checkpoint with 20. They got to the next checkpoint with 15. They got to the next checkpoint with 10. And by the time they got north enough to actually catch their breath 3 months later, it's 8, 9, maybe 6. And then you look around left and right, and you're like, whoever's here, you meant, like, you were serious about this thing. Everybody else that slacked off, that failed, that turned around, like there's a point of no return. And before I turn it back over to Coach, like what I felt in my spirit was like, oh man, sometimes we don't. Okay, I'll put it to you like this. The best thing I did was I poured enough gasoline on the dream to get to the point of no return before I could turn around. Sometimes people, they move too slow. They say, I'll do it this time. I'll do a little bit at a time. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll do this. I'll do that. They don't pour enough gasoline on this thing to say, I can't turn around. And I feel like that's what's required when you're on a freedom run. You got to book it and be going and be like, I left my mom. I got my kid. I left this. I left that. I done cut my arm. I can't go back. I'm giving up.
I got to say something, Bobby. I got to say something to what you're saying, brother. I got to say something, right? It's so funny that you say what you just said, because I literally wrote down before we came back from the break, during the break, I wrote this down. I said, if it was guaranteed, it wouldn't qualify as a dream.
Oh, man.
If it was guaranteed, it wouldn't qualify as a dream. Oh, this is what I mean. I mean, if somebody's, before you make an investment in yourself, you say to yourself, what are my odds? What are the odds, right? And the stuff Bobby talking about is like 99 to 1 odds. More likely not in your favor. And when we talk about businesses and the fact that 90% of businesses fail and 50% fail within the first 90 days to a year. And like he said, after 1 month, you go from 20 to 10. So all you got to really do is look around. I remember the people that was in the rooms with me, and I don't see them now. I don't see them now, right? And we still running. So I want you to think about your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, and I want you to think about, what am I running from? So Bobby said, when you look, you don't see the dream, you don't see the results, you see the swamps, you see the forest, you see the trees, you see the dogs. Think about what you see. What do you see? You see bills, right? I know you see bills, you see invoices, right? You see heartache. You see people saying, I can't take this anymore. Some people leave your life because you're working hard as you can for them. What are the dogs? You might see bad credit because your joint getting pinged up while you trying to build your freedom run, your bridge to the next level. Oh man, listen, guys, listen, I promise you, this is deeper than most people imagine. You don't understand, like, people who are entrepreneurs, people who are trying to forge a different path, people who are trying to create legacy. That's a freedom run. We have a training called Freedom Run. I did a training 3 years back called Freedom Run. I related it and included freedom papers, and those freedom papers being your LLC. And you're in a situation that you're not going to get out there. No one's just going to come and liberate you. Like, that's not happening. That's a dream deferred. That's a dream deferred. My mother had a dream deferred that things would just get better. My father had a dream deferred that if he did the right thing, that things would just get better. Things don't just get better. We make things better. We have to take that better. We have to work for that better. We have to sacrifice for that better. And that's why we're here this morning. That's why we're here this morning. To come and let you know that if you have a vision, if you have a dream, there's a reason. And don't think it's going to be easy. Please don't think it's going to be easy. You're going to have to do some things. And I love what Bobby said about the way he said it. Just made me say to myself, like, people drop out all the time. People drop out all the time. They can't take it. They get to a certain point and they tap out, or they start to walk. So think about yourself. You're a service provider, you're a coach, you're a speaker, you're trying to help people free themselves and liberate themselves. And somebody says, okay, I'm ready to go. Let me book a call. And then right before the call, they send you an email or they send you a text and they say, I can't make the call. I don't want to waste your time, but I can't. Now's not the right time. Let me tell you guys something. The right time is never going to present itself. The right time is never going to present itself, but the time you have now is a gift. The time you have now is a gift, and the time you have now is a present. That's why they call it the present. So people are unable to open the present that they have in now. They're looking for something that's guaranteed. And guaranteed is nothing. Nothing is guaranteed except that you're here now. That's what's guaranteed. And I'm going to tell you this, and I guarantee you this, that if it was guaranteed, it wouldn't qualify as a dream. It wouldn't be big enough. Guys, you don't understand. We're settling for less. We're settling for so much less. There's so many people that start out, like Bobby said in the beginning of the year, like, I'm going to crush it. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to do everything it takes. And then you get around in the fourth quarter and it's like, it's getting thin. It's getting thin. Will you be amongst the 4, 5, 6 to cross the finish line? Started out with 100. Started out with 100. Will you be a fallen soldier? Or will you be one of the people that crossed the finish line that was serious, out of breath, hurting, body in pain, mouth dry, numb from the pain, but present.
Oh my goodness. Coach, you're taking me places. You're taking me places this morning. You took me back to boot camp, took me back to combat, like training. It's like survival of the fittest, is one thing that comes to mind. And another thing that came to mind was the Marine Corps takes 90 days to turn a civilian into a Marine. And that's 3 months, And I thought it was really interesting that it's taken me 3 years to go from employee to employer. Like there's a gap there. Like you really have to. So when you've been an employee for, say 2 decades, it's a transition mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Like there is a transition. Economically, tax wise, there's a lot of transitions there, and it takes time. And one of the things that I just want to share with everyone, because again, I'm sure we were still having, me personally, I'll speak for myself, I was still struggling with being an employer at 6 figures. When I hit it and I was there and I was looking for the next move, like money didn't solve mindset problems. Like that was a whole nother issue I had.
Yes, sir.
Right. So one thing that I want to share with you all is people knew who Harriet Tubman was. They knew. And the reason I pick her specifically is because of a story that many of you all may know, some of you all may not know. But there was a particular, so Harriet Tubman, 1, never got caught. She never got caught. 2, she never lost a passenger. And there were a lot of people that did freedom runs, but Harriet Tubman, She never lost a passenger. Now, there's a story about Harriet. There's a story about Harriet that she was running, boom, booking it. Some dude started getting weak, started looking soft. Started looking soft, right? She pulls a gun on this guy and says, we're not gonna make it because you can't make it. So either I'm gonna kill you now and get my people home, or you gonna find the strength and fortitude to keep on going. Long story short, they all made it. So why do I bring that particular thing up? Because certain leaders are willing to do things that other leaders aren't. There are certain leaders that will lead you, and I come from a military background. So there are certain leaders that will apply a level of pressure to people that might break them. But if it's guaranteed, it's not a dream. This particular type of leader says, if you break and you rebuild, you good. If you break and you don't make it, that's great too, because you would have hindered everybody else. I need to know who you are before I take you where we're going. And Harriet had that type of mentality that if you come out here with us, then you're going to make it. So I lean a little bit into this before I turn it back over to coaches, that you got to know who's leading you. You got to know who is at the forefront of this mission, because they are, I'll put it to you like this. The leader takes full responsibility for everything. So if you're on a freedom run, do you want a leader that is going to take responsibility for him or herself and just give you a map? Or do you want the leader that is going to take full responsibility for everything that happens on that run, down to the weakest link that says they can't make it, down to the point that they jack that person up, pull out the strap and say, hey, you said this is what you wanted to do. It's women, children, and teenage boys out here. And I've risked my life multiple times to make this possible for us. Now, if you want to back out now, then I'm going to have to do what I got to do. But if you want to keep running, we ain't going to leave you. That's a different type of energy. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because you might be on week 1, month 1, or year 1, quarter 4. You know, if it's your first year, second year, third year in business, like you still, and this was my 3rd year after multiple businesses, right? Like I've been in business for a few years now. So I just want to share with you guys, like, get that leadership. Get the leadership. Go find someone that's been where you're going. You all know what Shaan has done. You know what we do here. Probably seen Junior Frederick. Like, if you like what you see, you trust what you hear, you see the results, don't wait. Share this out. I'm done, Coach. I'm just getting passionate because it's
I appreciate the passion, right? One thing I want to say to everybody listening is you can't have an option. You can't entertain an option. It's not possible. You cannot entertain an option, because if you entertain an option when the going gets rough, you're going to take the detour. You're going to take the detour because it's going to take more than you ever thought possible. That's why I say add a 0. Whatever you estimate, whatever you think, whatever you wrongly believed, falsely believed that it was going to require. People say, okay, well, I figure if I spend $20,000, then that'll be enough. And then they realize that it's not. They say, well, maybe if I invest $50,000, maybe 30 more, that'll get me to the promised land. And then they realize that it doesn't. They say, well, good Lord, Bobby, what if, if I double this up and I put in, if I take equity out of my house and I put 100,000 in, that should get me to 7 figures. And then they realize they hit 650 with debt. And it's like, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I've been doing the workout I've been on the diet for 90 days and I still don't have the 10 pack. Like, it's still not there. The washboard is still not there. I'm doing all of the things. It's not about the things that you do, guys. This is the thing I want you to understand. It's not about the thing that you do or the things that you do. It's definitely not about the money that you invest. It's about the person that you become. It's about the mindset that you build. You become the bridge. The right mindset allows you to become the bridge by where other people are able to pass. So people say, Shaan, why are you, going live every day now? Why? Why not? Why not? I have the ability. I said I was a servant leader. I said I wanted to see you win. That's what I said. I said I want to see you win. So why wouldn't I go live every day? Like Bobby said, we're not pulling out the strap, but if you're ready to get up out the bed, we pulling you up out the bed. We pulling the covers back and showing you what it looks like. It's not going to work going live once a week. It's not going to work going live once a month. It's not going to work with just an idea. You have to do more. And there's a phenomenal story in a phenomenal book about a phenomenal situation. See, history leaves clues. So here's the clue. Burn the boats. Burn the boats. You have to get to the shore. You have to get. Now, this is the same thing Bobby was saying, but in a different time. And I guarantee you that Harriet didn't read this book and probably didn't know this story. But when they got to the shores, when they got to the enemy shores, there's about 4 boats full of warriors and full of soldiers. And when they got to the shores of the enemy country, the captain burned the boats so that when the men woke up, they could see. He said, you see the smoke? Those are the boats. If we don't win, we're not going home. There's no way home. There's no way home but to win. When you have that kind of mindset, when you have that kind of consequence on you, that's the only time that you'll ever be successful. The only time that you'll ever be successful is when you do not leave yourself an option or an escape route.
Oh, man.
We got to go to a break. I want you to understand this, though. I really want to leave space for you to understand. The cuteness that you want, not going to happen. The niceness that you want, not going to happen. The handshake, the hand holding, the cuddling that you're looking for is not going to happen. What is going to happen is you can be successful if you choose to. Let's grow.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Shaan's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and just love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Shaan is the bomb.
I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G-Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Shaan Rais. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you like how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
Guys, we got to get serious. We got to get serious. We have got to get serious. That's the mission. That's the message for today. You have got to get serious. You cannot leave yourself an option. If you want to be successful in your business, in your relationship, in your marriage, in your health, in your finances, you cannot leave yourself an option, because I guarantee you, and you probably have seen this before, I promise you, if you have an option, you're going to take it. You're going to take it. When things get hard, you're going to take the option. You're going to go to sleep. How many movies have we seen where they say, okay, who's going to take the night watch, the first click? The person says, I'll take the first click, or they draw straws and so gets the first click. And because they don't stand, they fall asleep, because they sit down, because they put their hat down, because they choose to just lean over just a little bit. The next thing you know, it's over. Yeah. You're going to take the option. You're going to get weak. You're going to eat the donut. Don't bring them into the house. You're going to eat them. You're going to eat it. If it's there, the only thing that can happen is that it gets eaten.
Temptation, man. Temptation. I remember being on a run and just stopping. I remember stopping, and it hurts. These always hurt, because you know that you could have kept going. And that's all I would say there, just to accent what you were just saying about it takes what it takes. And if you leave yourself an option, there was times in my life where, okay, I don't think I've ever told this story. It's a good one, nothing too crazy. I was homeless at 17, and I was emancipated voluntarily. My mom had, she put us through some things, but she did her best. And she was moving back to Florida, taking us from Tennessee. This was after her third marriage. And I was old enough now, and I had worked on my own a few years. And I was like, you know, Mama, I love you, but I'm not going. I'm staying right here. I was in high school. I was like, I'm finishing what I've started here. And she respected me as a young man and voluntarily emancipated me. The best thing she could have done for me, or the most she could give, because she didn't have any money, she didn't have, too much resources to give me. She said, I got a friend. I would like to see if he'll help you out. So I went to this man. I'm going to give him an alias for now. His name was James. I went to stay with James. And James was like, all right, Bobby, I love your mama. She's a friend of mine. And I used to go to the Waffle House with her every day. Like, I don't know this man from James or John, right? Really, like, I know of him, but he's not family. He doesn't know me. And he let me stay with him for a little while. And he was like, you got until high school is over, buddy, and then you on the streets. He's like, I joined the Army, and I made something of myself. And I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you this. If you're going to be here, you're going to be a young man, I gave your mother 1 year. You got a year. After that, figure it out. In that situation, I used to get bad cysts behind my ears that would inflame anytime I got into the water. And I didn't have any other options when I left his home but to go to the military. And I chose to go into the Marine Corps because it was the hardest branch. So the Army approached me and they said, hey, you want to join? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I need to do something. And then the Marines approached me. They're like, yeah, you want to join? I was like, I need to do something. So I had to make a decision. So I asked the question, which one of you blankety blanks is the best? I need to know where I'm going to go to get that work. I was an athlete. I wanted to do some greatness, some great stuff. And they said the Marine Corps were the most prestigious. So I went with the Marines. And there was a time that we needed to do swim qual. 1, I cannot swim. 2, every time I get in the water, my ears inflame, a cyst bulges up behind my ear, and I become not incapacitated, but I can't do the job. Like I would get med-sept out of the Marine Corps. And I remember having no options, looking myself in the mirror, going to swim qual for the 3rd time. They called me an iron duck because I couldn't swim.
Come on, guys, let's go.
Iron duck. I went to swim qual 1, failed. 2, they give you 2, failed. 3, I say, give me one more shot. Like anybody that knows about swimming, that you don't know how to swim, like if your body's tense, you done. If you're negatively buoyant, you're done. If you don't flow and stroke, you're done. I was fighting the water. I was gassed. I was negatively buoyant. Do you know how fatigued I was after round 3 of fighting the water? These dudes had to pull me out with a buoy. I went under. They had to pull me like, you okay? Throw me back in. I can't leave. I gotta finish. I don't have any other options. They say this your last chance. I jumped off that 10-foot diving board and I made it because I had no other options. The cyst, I commanded my body not to inflame. I never got another one again for swim qual for 10 years. I said, you can't do this to me. Like, I gotta get this done. Like, I can't go home. Never had another cyst, had those things for like 10 years as a kid. So when I say that you gotta get to a point where you have no options, you gotta get to a point where you have no options.
What I'm gonna say is, and I say this to clients all the time, I say, you don't know what you don't know. You just don't know what you don't know. And even as the coach, the reason why I'm able to say it is because I don't know what I don't know many times. I just go. I don't ask questions. I don't know what I don't know. I just go. I have 100% infallible supreme faith that when I go there, the key will be provided. When I get to the door, the key will be there. I know it. I know it. I have supreme faith. I already know. There's no lack. I don't believe in lack. I don't believe in loss. I don't believe in failure. I don't believe in those things. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, no glimmer, no glimpse whatsoever. When I get there, the door will be, the key will be shown to me. So watch this. When I started this, going live every day, it was like, why are you doing it? I couldn't tell you why. Couldn't say why. I'm gonna just do it. I have a feeling. I have a vision. I have a impetus. I got the compelling to do it. Now, when you get this compelling, and you've all had it, you've just denied it. You chose to do something else. When I get it, I go. That's the difference. When I get it, I go. Now, when you do something like that, self-convention, self-preservation makes you think that all the things that you do are for you. This is going to put me in front of more people. This is going to help more people get to know who I am. This is going to help, the brand expand, and we're going to meet some people that we don't know and don't know us. And by that, our business will grow. Well, of course, that's a fact. That's going to take place regardless. But watch this. I'd never heard that story myself. And I'm going to tell Bobby in front of the world, like, that's the story. That's the story. The emancipation at 3, and even to go deeper into the story, the mother being divorced or married 3 times, like, that's the story that nobody's heard. See, sometimes, guys, we try to protect our image. So we'll tell this story, and this story, but that story, we're not going to tell that story. We're not going to tell that story. Why? Because it might be too much. It might be too vulnerable. It might be too open. It might make people perceive me a certain kind of way. We're not going to tell that story. We're going to tell the other stories that make me look like a champion of change and possibility and a transformation, or whatever we like to call ourselves, right?
Right.
But the reality is, like, that's the story. That's the story, because it takes us into your story beyond 20 years old. It takes us back to when you were a child, and it puts you in a position that a lot of people will be able to relate to you and be able to see themselves in your story and see you inside of them, which creates an affinity. So I'm glad that I started this, even if the technology shut down and we were no longer able to do it anymore, because Bobby found something. When you do things, you have to do them with an air of selflessness. It can't be about you. See, Harriet Tubman had already gotten her freedom. She was good. People looked at her the same way. Why are you going back? Why were you already doing it? Like, you're already the person, like, you're free. You won. What are you going to win by going back? It doesn't make sense. You got to do some things that defy conventional reason to get the results that you want. You guys are looking for money, but you're looking for it in the wrong places. You're looking for success, but you're looking for it in the wrong places. You're trying to build your business, but you're looking for business building in the wrong places. You're like, maybe if I join this, maybe if I come into this, maybe if I follow this person. No, maybe not. Right? And you can follow whoever you want. But then after you follow them, then what? People think that, a coach or a program is like the end all be all. It's not. I'm the first one to say it. Like, it's not. If you don't apply yourself, after that, so at the bottom of the page, you see the branded like a leader tag, brandedlikealeader.com. People that are looking for that freedom, run like it's there. People that are looking for that the closest thing to an end all, be all, do all, it's right there. But you can get access to Branded Like a Leader. You could pay the $5K and not apply it. And if you pay the $5K and you don't apply it, you know what you get out of it? The same thing you put into it. That's it. That's it. That $5K will show up on your bank account as a deduction, as a withdrawal. And that'll be the end of it. Until you put yourself into a situation, until you burn the boats, until you give yourself no other option but to win, you better get comfortable. Get comfortable where you're at, because nothing's going to change until you do.
Man.
Rough morning, huh?
Rough morning, but it's beautiful.
Rough morning?
Rough morning. Rough morning. As I started to think about boot camp and manhood, and now that you've kind of blessed it, kind of say, hey, this is the story. I know this is the story.
That's the story.
You know, I can lean in
1,000%
to that a little bit. You know, sometimes, because I want to make this as relatable as possible. I know we're all going through something. right? Like everybody's going through something. Like life be life, and is how my pastor puts it. They're like life be life. So with that being said, the question is, do you want what you've been getting for the past 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, or do you want something different? And I remember for me, I saw the last 10, 20 years of my life. When I went to boot camp, I was 19. So the last 19 years of my life, I saw as not being what I wanted for the rest of my life. And the reason I preface with this is because I want to share a few moments in boot camp that were pretty tough for me. And then I want you to think about some moments for you right now that are pretty tough for you. So in boot camp, you guys heard the one about the swim qual. Like I felt like I was about to die. Like you don't know what it's like to slip unconscious underwater and like be, you all right? Like I was like, oh, I'm okay, and get back in there. So that was one thing. But there was another moment that was more emotional than anything else.
Hold on, Bobby. Hold on real quick. I'm sorry, I gotta ask. So you basically drowned.
Oh, almost. In my mind, I did. So I went under, and then I was reaching for the lifeguard. I was not doing the fundamentals, and then they pulled me up. So had I, kept on going in my direction, I would.
As a grown man.
As a grown man, I was 19 years old, but I did not drown. I didn't go unconscious. They got me up, and they was like, "You good?" And I was like, no, I'm good. But also they'll let you know they're not coming for you if you panic. So I'm going down, and then they're looking at me. But if you're splashing, they're gonna let you drown because they don't want to become a casualty. So I had all of that going on in my mind at the same time. So I thought I was dying. But in reality, I wasn't. And it's the same thing in business. Like you'll have all these things going on. You'll be not following the fundamentals. The coach will be right there. You'll be at arm's distance, and you think you're drowning, and he'll be like, "Stand up." It's 3 feet. Stand up.
Let's go.
But so one of the more emotional moments for me was oh my gosh, leaning into your story. All right, here it is, but it's beautiful. I think you guys will be able to appreciate this. So I felt like everyone that was supposed to protect me abandoned me. My dad left me. My mom allowed me to get abused. Babysitters took advantage of me. All types of people that I was supposed to be able to trust. They messed me over. I got to boot camp, and a particular individual was supposed to look out for me. And I respect him to this day. He was doing his job, but he crossed some lines. But hey, that's how we are. He did his job though. But at that time in my mind, I was like, can't trust this guy either. It was just it was a wound that was already open, and that person just cut into that wound more. But then there was another event, and I was a scrawny guy. I went to boot camp at 128 pounds, 126 pounds, right? Ooh. I had to drink a milkshake and eat a burger just to make weight. I had to be 130 pounds to go to boot camp. My recruiter said, if you drop out, I'm like, I won't tell y'all what he said, but he was like, you go drink this milkshake, eat this burger, and don't take a dump for 24 hours. Now, I hope that wasn't too graphic, but I had to make weight. Because if you don't make weight, then you get shipped back. So I was not supposed to be there. I was not supposed to be there. So I made weight, and I was there. So I'm 126 pounds, and they running you like a dog. So I'm probably 120 pounds. And I had 3 of these guys, all supposed to be squad leaders. Now, the squad leaders are supposed to be the leaders, the most equipped, the most attuned, the most astute. One of them was like 6'2", 180 pounds. Another one was like 5'11", 170 pounds. And the other one was probably the same weight. These 3 guys take me to the head. Nothing too crazy. Take me to the head and begin to kind of haze. And they're all bigger than me. They're all stronger than me. They all hold a higher position than me. And then one of them trips me while I'm on the wall and I fall. Boom. It was insult to injury. It was unnecessary. It was uncalled for. They weren't even drill instructors. They held a position of leadership and abused it. And I want you to understand that on your freedom run, you can't get caught up in the people that are supposed to. I really want you to get this. Like banks, the bank's supposed to help you, but the bank sends you a bill. The light bill's supposed to stay on, they cut your stuff off. The water, like all these people are supposed to do right by you, but when you need them to do right by you the most, they screw you over sometimes. The people you love the most, the people you doing it for, they might not show up for you. And at the end of the day, you got to have this callous mindset. I remember hitting the ground and saying, I've been here before. My mama did that. My ex-husband did that. You're not going to break me. It's 3 of y'all. I'll take all it. Touch me again. I was on that type of stuff. And sometimes, and I got up and I walked out. And I never heard nothing from any of them again because they saw it in my eyes. They saw it. Like, I swear to goodness, touch me one more time and it's over. It's over. And sometimes you just got to have that. And I share that with you guys in this state of vulnerability because I was so small, so defenseless, so dependent. So is anybody going to help me? But I was on my freedom run and no one helped me. I had to help myself until I got to a position where somebody was willing to give me a hand. And then their time passed and I had to get to another position. It's light post to light post for real. It's house to house for real. It's like tree line to tree line for real. And you just keep going until you arrive.
And then when you arrive, you go back and get more.
And you get more. You show up with breakfast with the bread as often as you can, and you help the people.
That's right. You help yourself until you can help yourself. And then as soon as you become autonomous and you can help yourself, you go back and help those who can't help themselves so that they can help themselves, become autonomous and go back and help others. That's what this is. That's exactly what this is. This is a labor of love. Like nobody's paying this. Like nobody's paying for this. Like this is me. Like I'm paying for this. Bobby's paying time. Like we're paying for this. Like we build the platform. We build the platform to give it back to you guys. So somebody in the last 500, because I think this is, give me 1 second, because you put his name in here before. You put his name in here before. We got to switch that. We got to put them names in there. Jordan Knox. So Jordan Knox put it in the piece. He said, "For God," right? So watch this. Again, whatever your name is for that entity that's bigger than you, he picked Bobby up off the floor, gave him the reserve, helped him to build himself up, put some muscle on that bone when there was none, right? Same thing for Shaan Rais. Same thing for Shaan Rais. The corner was the coach. Like we ain't have coaches. We had bad influences, bad people telling you to do bad things. Those were the coaches. Those were the consultants. The consultants was bad, right? And you take that advice because you expect it to be the right advice, and that's what everybody else is doing. So it appears to be right. But then when you hit those consequences, when you hit those walls, and you realize, oh nah, this is not the best advice. This is, as a matter of fact, this is terrible. This might be the worst advice possible. And you realize that you're being taken advantage of. You have an opportunity and you have a choice. You say, okay, do I work with the tools that I'm giving? Do I utilize the investments that I've made? Do I actually have to dig in and do the work, or do I tap out and quit? And if you got tap out and quit in you, you will tap out and quit. If you can find tap out and quit, if you can find the buzzer, that's what you'll do. It's natural. You'll be going under, like Bobby said, and you'll be drowning. It's only natural for you to reach for the escape hatch if there is one. But if there is none, then you'll be successful. This has been another edition of The Breakfast with the Brand. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Let's grow.